All right, everybody, it's day 3. By being here, we know that you are the diehards. You are the people who are not only committed to understanding all of these technologies and all of the ways the world is going to change, but you're also the people who are committed to recognizing that Armenia has an incredible opportunity, not just to ride the wave of this change, but to lead the wave of change. Because when we look around the world, there are a lot of countries that have leapfrogged from one level of development to another. And in those contexts, actually starting a little bit behind has become an asset, because you can look around the world, you can see what others are doing, and you can draw lessons, and then you can move and move quickly. And to do that, you need amazing people, and Armenia has that. You need amazing corporate leaders, and Armenia has that. And you need incredible government leaders, and Armenia has that. So it's really my pleasure and my honor to be with the Deputy Minister, who has asked me to call him Tigrán, and with Alex, to really talk about how all of these pieces come together. Everything that we've talked about over these last few days, where the rubber hits the road is in the applications, in real people's lives, the things that government does to bring people together, to deliver services, the things that companies do. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, Tigrán, I will start with you. When I was here in Armenia last year, it was relatively fresh after the revolution. Things were, the new government hadn't officially been voted in, and now we're in a very, very different phase of consolidation. But for all governments, there's a big transition that goes from having all of the skills of community building and community empowerment that can create a revolutionary moment and create change, and that's one really important set of skills, to then this next set of skills, which are also important, which is governance. So how do you think about that transition, and what are the skills and attributes that you need to take along with you as emanating out of a popular movement into this new world where it's about governance and accountability and the delivery of services?
Thank you, Jamie. Well, I think the most important skill that the person should have when he gets into the public administration, it is learning each and every day. So basically, you need to learn complex systems. You need to understand those systems, the issues of those systems, and you need to find the solutions. And that is probably a skill that you need to develop every day, basically. And when we were in the process of revolution, it was also a major experience to understand what is the public perception towards this or that announcement. Yes, and basically we have that now in the government, because we still, whatever we do, we need to deliver that, we need to announce about that, and we need to communicate that with the public. But the other, and probably one of the most complex things to do, is to understand the depth, the granularity of those issues that are in the system. Understand whether the system has the right incentives, whether the system has the right aims and goals in front of them. And that is the most complex and sophisticated part. And the skill you need to develop is to educate yourself each and every day.
That's really, really important. Yeah, I think, why not? He's earned it. But he's going to even earn it more over the next 16 minutes and 18 seconds. In these kinds of transitions, by definition, governments need to be conservative. As a matter of fact, when governments aren't conservative, that can also create its own set of dangers, because there needs to be some level of continuity, that there is this existing government which needs to be brought along into a new vision, and there's always this balancing of popular expectations, particularly after a revolutionary moment, and the need to bring the whole structure of the bureaucracy and the government along, and sometimes those can be in tension. But in the business sector, there can often be an opportunity to move more quickly because you aren't bound to those same historic constituencies. So Alex, as a leader of the business community here, how are you thinking about how the business community can help partner with and when appropriate, lead a process of leapfrogging and transition to a more digital society?
Thanks, Jeremy. Actually, yeah, I think from business side it is much easier to talk because you don't have so much responsibility, especially when you are in public sector. So when we hear a lot also from business side criticizing the public sector, like why they are not that fast, we are changing this in our company within a matter of days. It's not that, usually it's not the case that public sector don't understand it or don't have the same vision, is because of the responsibility and difficulties in the system itself. So I think for business it's much easier to implement new things because you are running it on your own. If you are a self-owned company, I'm not saying about multinationals or IPOs companies, because they are working like public sector because they have the same structure. That's why these big corporations also are very slow compared to privately owned companies. So if we are speaking about privately owned companies, then definitely the changes are happening fast because you can try things, you can try new things, and you can be responsible for your own on the mistakes even you have done. While in the case of the public, you are responsible for everyone, not only for your one. So that's make it more difficult, of course. But I think technologies are here, and public sector as well have government have the option to use the technologies in order to make things move faster in bureaucratic environment by using technologies where businesses, especially in Armenia, where now we have this momentum where the tech sector is booming and we have to use our own local resources, because usually the well-recognized companies or solutions are costing quite high. And Armenia have the opportunity to use own resources to develop a new software solutions that in some cases can be even advanced than any other country or specific region is using, because we can leapfrog all the mistakes that other countries have done. So I think we have quite a good momentum, and we have, of course, very good cases which is already implemented there. I know there is a lot of discussions right now ongoing in the government, and Deputy Prime Minister is also, I think, responsible on that sector that now government is looking into. So I think if we make this match more on using local resources by having the other countries' experience and leapfrogging, I think we are uniquely positioned there.
Yeah, that's great. Deserved. Tigran, when you look around the world at other countries that have successfully done what Armenia is seeking to do, examples like Singapore, or Israel, or Estonia, where they've gone from one level of development very quickly to another. What are some of the examples that you are most inspired by, and why? And because Armenia always does its own thing, you have your own religion, you have your own language, no one is suggesting that Armenia should just do what some other country does, even though there are some decent models. So what are, in addition to asking what are the models that you think are most pertinent, what are the special things about Armenia that you think Armenia can uniquely add to help Armenia go to a different place than where some of those other countries have gone?
As we are unique in many fields, we will be trying to be unique in the field of technological advancement as well, I believe. Of course, the countries that you mentioned, Singapore, Israel, Estonia, and some other countries have gone pretty far in digitizing their public services, in digitizing a lot of business processes inside the public administration and in the businesses as well. But I think each and every country has its own problems and threats. What I believe is a major threat to all the countries and to all the governments with the advancement of the technologies is, of course, and we will be facing this, all of us, both us, Israel, and all the other countries. With the advancement of technologies, we will be facing major shifts in the work markets. And this is where we see the issue, basically. And this is what we try to solve in the future with the technology. So we try to analyze and understand which niches should be covered by the machines, which niches can be covered by the AI, and which jobs will be eliminated in the coming 30 years or 40 years. And I think that these are tens of millions of jobs worldwide. And this is a major problem for each and every country who is looking into the future. But what the history has told us is that the technology, the advancement of technology creates new opportunities and new spaces to discover. And I think by having around 20% of unemployment currently in Armenia, we have a special program which is called Work Armenia, and which is particularly focusing not on today's jobs, but on the jobs of the future. And we're trying to find the technological solutions. And again, everything lies in the educational system, because the educational system should prepare the students not for today's work market, but for 5 years, further 5 years, 2025 worth of work market. And that is, I think, which we share with the rest of the countries. Well, of course, we're working with Singapore pretty tightly on our digital agenda, and we have several initiatives that we probably will be doing jointly. But as I say, there are, of course, local problems that each country has, and I think the local problems can be solved with local forces and local minds, but the global problems which are related to the jobs and to the shifts in the work market in the future, it is a major problem for everyone, and we should sit and discuss those problems together.
I completely agree. And the private sector, in that process of transitioning the economy, plays a central role. I'm an advisor to Walmart, and I know Walmart in the United States and globally is always thinking about the progression of their employees. So somebody comes in playing one role, what's the farthest that person can go, and how do we think about that human resource? And that certainly forward-thinking governments like Armenia's are thinking that way, and companies are also thinking that way. So how do you think about, in your role as a large employer in this country and as a corporate leader, how do we think about developing human resource capabilities so that everybody is helping prepare the Armenian workforce, not just today, as Tigran said, but for tomorrow?
I think, first of all, we shouldn't be afraid about this transition, because there is a lot of people and a lot of discussions around the world right now about that AI is changing, I don't know, the accountant job, AI is changing the other jobs, and we will be jobless in 2 years, in 5 years, in some are saying in months. So I think, first of all, we shouldn't be afraid it, because definitely there will be impact. I'm not saying there shouldn't be any impact, but it will be shift. Now the question is how we should be prepared into this shift and how quickly we can adopt into this shift. And as Armenia, I think we have a lot of industries which are running legacy way, like the same agriculture, the same financial sector. I think we have a lot of things in the world as well, not only in Armenia for financial, because financial sector is quite advanced, but again, very legacy platforms we are using. So now is the question is to decide for each sector what are the plans on shifting and how quickly we can implement. At the same time, using technologies, using the new things, what kind of benefit it will bring. Because you are not losing, you are gaining by this shift at the end. So companies will make more money, economy will be better. This means we will have more income, and we can use this income for be prepared for this better shift, let's say so. So I think we are good positioned, although all the foreign countries like Germany, like many other countries that have done a lot of investment into industrial production. There are a lot of lines which were built like 5 years ago, even for car industry. Germany is, we know, very advanced in car industry. So they have done billions of dollars of investment, and it needs time to be depreciated. Where Armenia can just come upfront and do the new technology investment, or any investment done in new technology, we can be more competitive than other countries. So I think we should not afraid at all and just be bold on doing moves on that side.
Tigran, did you want to say pick up your microphone?
Just,
Something
just
to add?
to add up on what Alex said, look, during the first industrial revolution, people were fighting the machines because they thought that those machines are taking their jobs, and basically what they thought is they need to stop the progress. But as our history has shown, the advancement in the technological field creates new niches, creates new types of jobs, and creates new opportunities. And basically, well, on the 6th of October, we had a concert during which the orchestra was playing the AI-composed melody, which means in the near future, the AI may be composing really talented stuff, really talented music, and which means the AI can take over some of the creative jobs as well, while the other machines are taking the labor-intensive jobs. But basically, what we should do, we should not be afraid of these processes, because these processes for sure will create new opportunities for people to develop, to create new niches, to find new issues to solve. And this was the whole history of progress, and that should be the same in the future as well.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And the challenge, the public challenge for this, is that the things now are real. Someone's job, what they're doing today, is real. The things for the future are imagined. And so it's very difficult for people to give up a real thing in the name of an imagined thing. So I know that there are people in this audience and people in Armenia, when they hear about AI, they're thinking, well, I'm going to lose my job. And there will be people in Armenia who will lose jobs, like in every country. Like in the United States, we used to have people at the airport who take your ticket and check you in, and now that's all done by machines. But for a country like Armenia, this is a huge opportunity. We were talking in the green room prior to coming in. I don't know the number of how many radiologists you have in Armenia, but my guess is it's not a huge number. But radiologists around the world, the work of radiologists is in many ways being disrupted by AI algorithms that can read medical images in some areas, like with certain breast cancers, with far greater accuracy than the radiologist. And so for Armenia, you're going to be able to, everyone is going to have access to world-class radiology without investing in the radiologists. And now your government has a little extra pool of money that can be used to educate people to do something else in some function that we're really going to need 10 or 20 years from now. And that's this whole concept of leapfrogging. And so there will be disruption here. But a country like Armenia is really well positioned to be the beneficiaries of that kind of process. And the last question that I want to ask is, it feels to me, I feel this very strongly, that Armenia is reaching this tipping point. And it's the tipping point where in the beginning you need a lot of effort. It's like, you know, pushing a car. You need a lot of effort in the beginning. But then the car starts to move with its own momentum. And I feel that here. It feels like the innovation economy is opening up. I was sitting at dinner last night with an Armenian who lives in Lebanon, and he was making the decision, should he move back to Armenia? I think 2 years ago the answer would have been no. And last year was, well, let's see. And now it's probably moving towards maybe or probably. And so in a country where you have so much talent and wealth of Armenians who are outside of the country, once this engine starts going, there's really no end to how far the train can go. So maybe we'll start first with you, Alex, and then close with you, Tigran. What do you think it's going to take for Armenia to begin and continue this process of really passing the tipping point and really launching toward a future that I think all of us can imagine?
I think for the main criteria, of course, for a person to choose a destination is quality of life. So there is, as you know, we have all like the basic needs for creating a good quality of life in Armenia, which is the nature, which is the food, which is the hospitality, so it's safe place. Now, there was a big, of course, for the business to move or to make money, the economy should be driving to the better position, which I believe that started, and we see more and more positive moves. Of course, it cannot happen immediately, yet like there was revolution, it doesn't mean that within 1 month or within 1 year suddenly everything is changed. But today we see that there is this positive momentum everywhere, whether it is in diaspora, whether it is in Armenia, that people have belief into the bright future of Armenia. And by also by examples that we have today, which is very important, because people, when you are talking, they should see in order to believe. So when there is examples, we need some bunch of examples of different people moving to Armenia. I already know many of them that moved to Armenia, although wealthy family or having good business in New York, in Lebanon as well, and came back already half year, had a lot of good opportunities and positively talking so far. So I think we need more of these examples. Then, as you said, once cars started moving, then it will continue getting faster and faster. So it's a lot of effort, both from the business side and as well from the government side, to make sure that all the steps that are undertaken are under very tight control to go to the right direction, which I think I'm very positive, let's put it this way.
Tigran.
Hopefully we will be able to jump onto the driver's seat after this push, because we need to drive this car after that, and which means again that of course we're pushing the car now, but the further advancements would be and the further paces would be much faster. If we talk about Armenians, I can say that we're a global nation, and we're a decentralized nation as well, and that is where our power lies in. And I think if we create the opportunities in the country, nowadays life and nowadays business and education can be distant. And well, I managed a company before being in the government that was producing services for more than 15 countries, for companies from more than 15 countries, and we were doing that distantly from Armenia. And I think that is the approach in each and every field, and that will be the approach of the future world. And I think if we create the opportunities in the country, if we create the human-centric public administration, if we create the human-centric public services, and if the person likes the atmosphere that there is in the country, I believe there will be a lot of repats coming back to Armenia, and hopefully foreigners too.
Yep, I agree. Now, it's deserved. So, summary, if you're Armenian listening, the sky's the limit for Armenia. If you're a foreigner listening, the sky's the limit for Armenia. If you're an investor listening, the sky's is the limit for Armenia. And so, please join me in thanking Tigran and Alex, and thank you to all of you.
One more round of applause for a wonderful panel. Thank you very much, Jamie. Cheers.